Thinking about investing in the Rabbit R1? Before you make a decision, join us for an in-depth review. We're getting into the Rabbit R1 AI device, exploring its highs, lows, and whether it's truly worth your hard-earned cash. Jesse Liu, the CEO of Rabbit, a tech startup, doesn't aim to replace your smartphone just yet. Their latest creation, the R1, priced at $199, is gaining attention. It's a device with a 2.88-inch touchscreen, a camera, and a scroll wheel. Powered by a 2.3 GHz MediaTek processor with 4 GB RAM and 128 GB storage, it's packed with features. The first batch of 10,000 units sold out fast, prompting pre-orders for the next batch. The R1's popularity speaks volumes about its potential. Before we get into my review of the Rabbit, let's make it clear, this isn't a sponsored video, so you're getting my honest take on this device. I'm no tech expert, but I'll do my best to give you the full breakdown on what I think about it, both the good and the not-so-good part of it. We'll begin with the form factor. Some might wonder if this could have just been an app, but personally, I like having it as a standalone device. It feels more personal and special this way. Plus, being standalone means it's not limited to just one ecosystem like Apple or Android. The design is also gorgeous. The screen is high resolution yet simple, and the device itself feels incredibly solid in hand. Surprisingly, it's smaller and lighter than I expected, making it super easy to hold. Props to Teenage Engineering for the design, but also to the team for executing it so well. The buttons are satisfyingly clicky, the scroll wheel feels great with just the right amount of friction, and the build quality overall is top-notch. I also have to give a special shout out to the camera placement. It's smartly positioned so that it can be accessed from both sides of the device. When you switch to view mode, you can see how seamlessly it spins up. And the color and feel of this device are just delightful. Now let's talk ports. On one side, you've got the trusty USB-C port for charging, and right next to it is the SIM card slot. Yes, you heard that right. You can pop in a SIM card and enjoy mobile service anywhere you go. Let's talk about the Rabbit's hardware and performance. At almost $200, this device is seriously impressive. It comes packed with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and cell service, making it versatile for a range of tasks. But there's one aspect I need to address: the battery. I have to be honest here, the battery life isn't great. I've noticed it drains pretty quickly, especially when using mobile service. Even when the device is in sleep mode on my desk, it loses about 1% of battery every 5 to 10 minutes, which feels like a lot for minimal use. It's possible I got a device with a slightly defective battery, but regardless, it's a significant concern for me. On the bright side though, it charges up really fast. You can get a full charge in under an hour. And now, let's take a closer look at the main screen. It's clean and simple, showing you the battery percentage, the time, and that adorable floating rabbit icon, which I absolutely love. But the real magic happens when you hold down the gray button on the side. That's when the rabbit's ears pop up, indicating it's listening, and you can ask it anything. For example, you can ask, "What's today's date?" and it'll promptly respond with the current date. Or if you're feeling adventurous, you can ask it something more complex like, "How do I create the game Snake in Python?" And just like that, it'll provide you with step-by-step instructions on how to tackle the task. It's like having all knowledge at your fingertips, and I have to say, it really impressed me. But what really blew me away was how fast the responses come through. It's usually just a matter of seconds, sometimes even less. You ask a question and boom, you've got your answer. It's lightning fast and incredibly convenient. And it's not just limited to simple queries either. You can ask it about the latest movie reviews, and it'll give you a rundown of what critics are saying. It's like having your own personal assistant right there to keep you informed and entertained. Instead of relying on developers to create APIs for the R1, Rabbit took a different approach. They trained their model, known as the Large Action Model, LAM, to understand and interact with existing apps independently. Human interactions with apps like Spotify and Uber taught the LAM how to use them. Additionally, the R1 features an amazing training mode. In this mode, you can teach the device specific actions, which it will then replicate autonomously. For instance, you can instruct the device to perform tasks like removing watermarks from photos in Photoshop, and it will learn to do so independently in just 30 seconds. But of course, no device is without its flaws. While the Rabbit's performance is generally top-notch, there are occasional hiccups. I've encountered some lag and glitches, especially when multitasking or running more resource-intensive apps. It's nothing too serious, but worth mentioning nonetheless. Next, let's look into the Rabbit's features and functionality. One standout aspect is its lightning-fast response time, both with voice and vision. Not only can you use voice commands, but the Rabbit also boasts vision capabilities. With just a double tap of the gray button, you can access the camera and ask the Rabbit to identify objects. For example, I tested it with a CPU, and within seconds it provided accurate information about what it was. The speed of response is truly impressive, especially considering some initial complaints about sluggishness. On user input, the Rabbit offers a range of unique input options. For instance, a simple shake brings up the settings menu, where you can adjust various parameters like brightness, volume, and network settings. I particularly appreciate the innovative scroll wheel, which allows you to go through menus by scrolling up or down. However, I did find that scrolling can be a bit slow at times, but this could potentially be improved with future updates. Alright, let's get right into what makes the Rabbit hardware stand out. First off, the design is sleek and stylish, and it feels really solid when you hold it. The screen is super clear and sharp, and the buttons and scroll wheel are easy to use and feel nice to the touch. I especially like that it has a USB-C port for charging and a slot for a SIM card, so you can stay connected on the go. Now, let's talk about setting up the Rabbit and what it's like to use. Getting started involves creating an account through Rabbit Hole, their online platform. Once you're in, you'll see your journal where all your interactions with the device are logged, which is pretty cool for keeping track of everything you do. Plus, you can connect to services like Spotify, DoorDash, and Uber, which adds a lot of convenience. Just keep in mind that some features might require a paid account. Now on to using these services with the Rabbit. Unlike regular integrations, the Rabbit works by basically pretending to be you within different apps. It's a neat idea, but it does have its challenges. For example, playing music on Spotify is easy, but ordering food from DoorDash can be a bit slow and confusing. Using the app can feel clunky compared to using it on your phone. So while it's cool that the Rabbit can do all these things, there's definitely room for improvement in how smoothly it works with different services. Let's talk about the Rabbit's standout feature, its voice control. It's very impressive because it is able to chat with your device like you would with a friend. You can ask questions, tweak settings, and get stuff done hands-free. But there's a catch. While it's great for some things like getting info or adjusting settings, it fails that you can't use voice commands for basic stuff like changing the volume or turning on Bluetooth. It feels like they missed a trick there. But of course, no device is perfect, and the Rabbit is no exception. While the hardware is top-notch, I've encountered a few issues with the software. Sometimes it can be a bit sluggish, especially when switching between apps or loading content. And I've noticed a few bugs here and there that could use some ironing out. Another thing to consider is the price. While the Rabbit is definitely a premium device, it might be out of reach for some folks. But if you're willing to invest in quality, then I'd say it's worth every penny. Now on our verdict, the Rabbit's a bit hit and miss. The hardware is definitely a hit. It's sleek, it's stylish, and it feels like it belongs in the future. But there's room for improvement, especially when it comes to the battery. On the software side of things, the Rabbit has some cool features like hooking up with Spotify and DoorDash, but there are often hiccups with the Rabbit OS, and connecting to stuff can be a bit of a headache. Plus, the AI helpers sometimes struggle to do what you ask, especially when it comes to apps. Spotify works alright, but other services might not play ball as nicely, which is a bit of a letdown. Overall, the Rabbit's got potential, but it needs some fine-tuning to really shine. When Leo talks about Rabbit OS and the R1, it's not completely clear what the company wants this device to be. It's not strong enough to replace your phone, but it can do video calls and has a spot for a SIM card. It's mostly a voice assistant, but it also has a screen and a camera. Rabbit says Rabbit OS is made to be safe, but it still asks you to log in to your important services. Leo thinks the R1 is both a cool extra gadget and the future of everything rolled into one. In terms of recommendations, it totally depends on your perspective. If you're an early adopter eager to support innovative technology and don't mind some initial hiccups, then the Rabbit might be worth considering. However, if you're seeking a device that offers immediate value and flawless functionality, you may want to hold off for now. Overall, my verdict is mixed. While the Rabbit excels in design and potential, its current shortcomings in software and functionality prevent me from wholeheartedly recommending it. That being said, I'm optimistic about its future prospects and eager to see how it evolves over time. Alright guys, we've come to the end of this video, and if you enjoyed it, do well to click on the like and subscribe buttons. And as always, feel free to share your thoughts and questions in the comments below. Don't forget to check other videos on our playlist. We've got some amazing contents for you. See you in our next video.